Hi, this is Jim Hodges of Heavy Reading. Today I'm meeting with Chris Manier, who's the Vice President of Product and Strategy at Guavus. And today we're talking about analytics. So Chris, maybe you can just give me sort of an overview of what you're demonstrating and what you're focusing on this week from an analytics context at World Congress.
Yeah, Guavus is a leading provider of analytic applications for the communication service provider space. We work with some of the largest operators across the globe, and we really focus on looking at real-time analytics and are changing the way that operators use data and use technologies like big data applications in order to improve customer experience and drive dollars out of the business and create new marketing opportunities as well. Our focus has been around the service assurance and customer experience management space. So today we're talking about Service Reflex, which is a product that's been around for a while for Guavus, is widely deployed, and some of the entrances that we're making into the mobile space product.
So Chris, maybe you can provide me sort of an update on how your customers are using your products today.
Yeah, absolutely. So the operators that we work with have followed a traditional model. You have these silos of network operations, care operations, field operations, and they work well within their silos, but we're really pushing to that new service operations layer that sits across the top. Right. So how do we break down those barriers? How do we use this real-time data that's coming from the networks, that's coming from the care centers, that's coming from the field staff, in order to push out some of those nuanced issues that may not be currently detected today? So they're using our products to drive those issues out of the network that are impacting smaller segments of customers they previously couldn't see before. Okay. They're really primarily, though, using this to improve the customer experience. That's right. The biggest driver that we're seeing is how do we improve the customer experience utilizing the data that we have.
Right. So Chris, maybe you can provide me just kind of a view of where you think analytics is going sort of the next 6 months or a year in terms of product evolution, both from your product perspective and also from the needs of your customers.
Yeah, so it's been a pretty exciting shift for us. We just first needed to get the technology in place to right. almost be reactive, but again, being reactive more in a real-time sense, being reactive more in that shift and supporting the shift to cloud-based services and such that our operators are doing. Right. The networks are less hierarchical than they were before. Right. But really where we see it moving is to more proactive and predictive. Right. We have the technology now, we have the data sciences in there, we have machine learning capabilities that maybe couldn't scale before, but now we see that in practice, in reality. So I think the operators, and we're leading that charge there and pushing the operators towards more of a predictive strategy. So how do I know where areas in the network may have failures in the future? How do I really change the focus through the lens of the customer? Again, the customer experience is becoming the #1 product for our customers, for right. our operator customers. And so if we can always contextualize what's happening on the network with the impact that it's having to the customer, it allows you to prioritize which areas to go after first. And when you can do a prioritization, that's your next step into prediction, and that's your next step into being proactive. So instead of waiting for a customer to have an experience issue or waiting for a large scale of customers, we try to get there when the first small segment of customers start to experience right. something. We understand the impact that it has, we understand the broader population of subscribers that this may impact. They can then prioritize and be proactive about that versus waiting for them to call the call center, as an example.
Yeah, Chris, I agree with you. When I look at analytics, there's really kind of the two sides to analytics. There's the customer-facing side, the customer experience side, right. and there's also the network monitoring side. Right. So I think you're right. I think that predictive has really a strong play in both areas, because when you think of what's happening, it's really the underlying network that provides that customer experience. So being able to manage the network from a predictive side, but also being able to predict the applications, knowing what the applications, which subscribers are using which applications, I think it's a really strong value proposition, both from a network side and from a subscriber side. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I mean, that's truly the essence of where I think we have leadership in this space. Contextualizing, again, I've used that word in the past, but I think it's very important here. You mentioned the customer facing and the network operations facing. When you pull those two together and you're the glue that sits across right. it, that's when it gets really powerful. Right. Again, getting through that lens of the customer's experience, I think is really what we're trying to do here for the operators. So it's not just that you have a network fault, you've crossed some KPI threshold. It's that we know customers are feeling that and they're going to be impacted by this issue. So how do we prioritize that before it becomes widespread? So bridging those two silos
Absolutely.
is extremely important.
Absolutely, I agree. So Chris, thank you for joining me today and giving us an update on analytics. It's an exciting area. It's one that we're going to continue to follow. It's an area that I cover as an analyst. So, I agree with a lot of the points you made. I think it's an exciting time to be in the analytics space. So thanks for joining us today and giving us an update.
No, thank you. I enjoyed the conversation. Appreciate it, Jim.